Alone in a sophisticated car on a quiet mountain road, far away from everyday life with all its cares and concerns, the unadulterated joy of motoring, a harmonious symbiosis of man-machine and an intact environment. Dreams come true, something to gladden the heart of any driver. Unfortunately, reality tends to look rather different, and not just in recent years. The space available for private cars is in short supply, and there are always other road users who stick up for their rights too. Mobility, a fashionable word these days. Nobody wants to do without it anymore. Everyone demands it, but we seem to be up against the limits already. Cars are machines that interact with the environment in many ways, a very sensitive topic. Car manufacturers have a responsibility not just to build better cars, but also to join forces with researchers and other industries and find responsible solutions for maintaining individual mobility at an acceptable price, so that the pleasure of driving doesn't one day become a nightmare. This challenge requires visionary ideas and bold actions. BMW rose to the challenge in the 70s with its plans for a new and unique research and engineering center known by its German initials as the FIZ. Computer technology is a pattern for forward-looking concepts of minimum path lengths, rapid and uninhibited data flow, and the greatest possible efficiency. Research into the way we think has shown that the most effective brain is not the largest, but the one with the best networking.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, as one of the future occupants of our Research and Engineering Center, I should like to extend a cordial welcome to you all. This project will set an example to the automobile industry as a whole. We were able to persuade the best architects and construction companies to design and build this research and engineering center, so that these buildings will aptly express our corporate image. Here, we'll be developing the technology for the second century of motoring. We'll make it even better, even more economical, even more environmentally compatible, and even more attractive. We'll create thousands of first-rate jobs. I'd like to call this center our building of the century.
The FIZ after completion. It looks splendid from the outside, but its inner qualities are even better. Strictly functional and process-oriented complexes with well over 100,000 square meters of floor space. A central workshop area surrounded by a honeycomb of office buildings. The principle is inherent communications with the shortest possible distances. All the people involved in the development process are close to one another. Studies of the communication patterns of R&D engineers had shown that they evolve a high proportion of their ideas in face-to-face discussions with their colleagues. On the other hand, if they have a long way to go, then they aren't nearly so interested in entering into this creative exchange of ideas. These facts led to a clever arrangement of the working areas, providing ideal conditions for interdisciplinary teamwork. This way, even complex processes can be speeded up. Nothing is fixed for all time. The internal structure of the FIZ is in a state of constant flux. People change offices every time a new project starts. A building where the exterior design is harmonious and aesthetic, and the internal structure so lightweight and flexible that it's easy to adapt time and again to new demands and varying uses. BMW occupies a leading position in the market, but there are other pretty faces in the running. Nobody is safe from global competition. Gaining the competitive edge these days is a question of quality and speed of innovation. This applies to BMW as much as anyone else. Innovative teamwork is becoming more and more important. After all, cars are designed and built by people. In the FIZ alone, some 6,000 people work in many different departments: research, development, purchasing, production planning, accounting personnel. It's only because of them and their ideas, their performance as a team, and their individual commitment that BMW can maintain its top position on the world market. New organizational structures can make a significant contribution to this. By breaking down hierarchies and overcoming the classic departmental way of thinking, we support people's creativity, imagination, and sense of responsibility. Teamwork is encouraged. Employees are motivated to see a problem in its entirety and to organize their time and talents. Communication between different areas, between the planning and construction stages, is encouraged. This leads to a natural fusion of everyone involved in the design and production process. Normal person-to-person relationships without the inhibitions of hierarchical structures. A permanent exchange of information on all levels, a more human atmosphere, and finally also a consensus that we are working jointly to reach one goal: to build the right car for the future. Much of this has already been implemented in the FIZ, and not only here, but throughout BMW. A miniature factory in the middle of a development department. That's how we might see the pilot plant at the FIZ. Here, the initial prototypes serve to simulate, test, and optimize production under realistic conditions. The first Z3s are assembled, but they have little chance of being driven by enthusiastic roadster fans. Most of them will suffer the fate of being turned straight back into scrap metal in a variety of crash tests. It's some consolation to know that BMW cars meet the strictest safety regulations in the world. The FIZ is 10 years old. Nobody could say things have stood still. 6 new series of cars with countless variations have been developed and put into production in that time. Research and development go hand in hand at BMW. Together with 14 other European car manufacturers, we developed electronic systems to assist drivers and make their lives easier, part of the Prometheus research program, which ran from 1986 to 1994. Some of these systems may seem futuristic. Not all the results will be used in practice, but research also means the courage to seek solutions to problems which don't yet exist. It means being ahead of one's time, visionary thinking, knowing tomorrow's needs today. Motif, an ongoing research project in which BMW is also taking part, was set up in 1996 with the support of the German Federal Research Ministry. Its objective is to decouple economic growth from transport stresses. The idea is to combine the specific advantages of all means of transport to create a sensible whole. The coordination of transport systems is just as important as cooperation between the various forms of transport. In the future, traffic and transport should not be regimented, but gently guided by information and communications technologies. BMW is active in the field of driver assistance systems, for example, to make it easier to keep our distance. The active accelerator automatically maintains a safe distance from the car in front. Cooperative Traffic Management was the title of a pilot project which tackled the traffic problems to the north of Munich. The daily rush hour congestion. One solution is to make more intelligent use of the existing road network. Variable traffic signs, for example, which specify an optimum speed. Another warning and information system developed by BMW is called Companion. The roadside marker posts flash to give advance warning of an accident or fog ahead. Karen, an information system which uses data on a CD-ROM and satellite navigation to calculate the shortest route to the destination. In the future, it will also work out the best route depending on the current traffic situation. And when all roads lead to chaos, it even recommends alternative means of transport. All good things come to an end. What happens when you replace your car with an even better one? Just throw the old one away? If only it were that simple. The BMW Dismantling and Recycling Center takes apart what others have painstakingly put together. In the process, it gathers useful information on how old cars can be scrapped more cleanly and economically in the future, as well as on how we can design new cars with a view to later recycling. Acoustical research. Here we keep a sharp ear open for unwelcome sources of noise. Quiet cars are kinder to the environment. BMW has set up 14 acoustical test rigs to teach its cars the art of whispering. Electromagnetic compatibility. How does a piece of electronic equipment react with the outside world? Is it likely to be adversely affected by radio waves from other sources? Or can it, in turn, interfere with other systems? The cockpit layout is similar from car to car. The humans who have to sit in them vary much more. An ergonomics program called RAMSYS is looking into this problem. If you're sitting comfortably and can reach all the controls with ease, then you'll also drive better. Over 7,000 people have been measured. RAMSYS knows them all. It can pretend to be any one of them and tell the designers how it feels. But how does a human manage it all? How do our brains process all the information that demands our attention when we're driving? The road, other traffic, road signs, the instruments, weather conditions. We need to notice them all and react accordingly. Even the slightest mistake could have serious consequences. So at the FIZ, they're trying to gain a more precise understanding of what is humanly possible. And what will power our cars in the future? Hydrogen, for instance. Produced from renewable resources, it's available in almost unlimited quantities. It's easier on the environment than any other fuel because when it burns, it leaves behind practically nothing but the water it was made from. The technology is available and it's ready to be put into practice, but new technologies have their price and the necessary infrastructure is lacking worldwide. Natural gas could be an important step on the way to the hydrogen economy. It would be a good way to build up a network of filling stations for liquefied gas. What about electric cars? Not all the problems are solved. Above all, the performance and capacity of the batteries leaves a lot to be desired, but it's already a practical solution for a pollution-free city car. All in all, we can present an interim balance sheet that would pass a critical audit. The FIZ was a visionary concept that has met the demands placed on it. A 10th birthday is not exactly retirement age. On the contrary, the idea of the FIZ is now more up to date than ever before. It's a dynamic organism that adapts constantly to the changing requirements of Mobility Unlimited. The FIZ, BMW's Center for Progress in Developing and Producing Forward-Looking Technologies.